I kept my past as a Marine officer secret from my wife for 10 years, not because I was ashamed of it, but because I wanted to leave that world behind. The blood, the orders, the faces of men who never came home. When I met Claire, she was light, soft laughter in a crowded cafe. The way she asked questions that made me feel seen instead of studied. I thought maybe I could finally be ordinary. We built a quiet life in Boston. I managed a shipping business. She worked in art restoration. No weapons, no classified briefings. Just coffee in the morning, and the sound of her humming while she painted in the evenings. It was peace, or so I thought. Then one night, everything shifted. It was late, close to midnight. I had gone downstairs for a glass of water when I heard her voice in the study. Calm, controlled, too calm. He's a weakling, she said. The words froze me. I pressed against the wall. Send your men to the warehouse tomorrow. Make it look like an accident. The glass slipped from my hand and shattered on the tile. Her voice cut off. For a moment, there was silence, then hurried footsteps. When she appeared in the doorway, her face was pale, but her eyes weren't shocked. They were calculating. Who was that? I asked, my voice rough. Just my father, she said too quickly. He's been struggling with the business again. Business. Her father, a retired diplomat turned investor, didn't have men. He had accountants. That night, she reached for my hand in bed, and I pretended to be asleep. The next morning, she was gone early, leaving only a note about errands. My pulse thudded as I checked her study. Her phone was gone, but her laptop was still open. I shouldn't have looked, but instinct, the old, hardwired kind, took over. Encrypted emails, messages with code phrases that made my stomach twist, shipment schedules, targets, neutralizations, and one phrase that made my heart stop cold. Operation Seraphim. Subject, Daniel Kane. Me. For the first time in a decade, the Marine in me resurfaced. I started thinking in tactical grids, escape plans, recon. My body moved before my emotions caught up. I went to the warehouse. It was one of ours, a small dockside facility storing imported equipment. I had 10 employees, all loyal, all normal. Or so I thought. That day, the air smelled wrong. Too clean, too quiet. There was a black van parked near the loading dock. Unmarked. I slipped inside to the side entrance, the same way I'd entered enemy compounds years ago. I didn't breathe. I listened. Voices. 2 men, Eastern European accents, talking about making it quick. And then one of them mentioned her name. Claire. They were going to stage a malfunction, a gas leak, an explosion, and she was the one who ordered it. My throat burned, but the Marine in me stayed silent. I waited until one of them left to check the van, then took down the other quietly, disabling him with muscle memory I hadn't used in a decade. When the van door opened again, I was ready. 2 minutes later, they were unconscious, tied with industrial straps, phones confiscated. I took photos of everything, license plates, equipment, IDs, evidence. Then I drove home. Claire was in the kitchen, making tea, smiling like nothing had happened. You're home early, she said. I stared at her, at the woman I had loved for 10 years. Who are you? Her smile faltered. What? I heard you. Last night. The warehouse. The men. You wanted me dead. For a heartbeat, something flickered across her face. Shock. Then something colder. You shouldn't have heard that. I felt the world tilt. Why? I demanded. Was any of it real? She hesitated, then looked down at her hands. It started as an assignment. I felt my chest cave in. You were a target, she whispered. After the operation in Kandahar. You know too much. You disappeared, and certain people wanted to make sure you stayed that way. I staggered back. So you married me? Her eyes filled with tears. It wasn't supposed to be real, but it became real, Daniel. I fell in love with you. I tried to protect you. I laughed, a broken sound. By ordering my death? She shook her head violently. I didn't. They found out I couldn't finish the job. My father, he's not who you think he is. He took over the operation. I thought if I staged something small, something controlled, they'd leave you alone. Controlled? I said, my voice rising. You call that control? She reached for me, but I stepped back. The distance between us felt like a battlefield. Daniel, please, she said, her voice cracking. You don't know what they'll do if they find out you're alive and aware. We can run together. But something inside me had already shattered. 10 years. Every word, every touch, every quiet night under the same roof, tainted. I turned away. You don't get to say we anymore. She started crying then, silently, the kind of cry that's all tremors and no sound. I should have felt something. Pity, anger, love. But I felt nothing. I left that night. For months, I moved like a ghost. Burned identities, changed names, left trails of misinformation. Old contacts reappeared. People who owed me, people who remember who I used to be. I built a new life in the shadows again, one without warmth. But sometimes when the night is too quiet, I still hear her voice. The way she said my name softly in her sleep. The way her hand fit mine without trying. I know what love feels like, and I know what betrayal feels like. The cruelest part is how similar they are. Last month, I received a message on an encrypted line. No sender. Just 4 words. They're coming for you. It was signed C. I deleted it, but my hands were shaking, because in that moment, I didn't know whether she was warning me or finishing what she started. And God help me, I still hoped it was a first.